Good day, YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to the Darius Vivid video on YouTube. It's, of course, another backyard garden tour. Of course, as you can see, we've got a lot of sunflower seedlings, right? This one right here. But more specifically, I'm actually on about the nasturtiums. Why am I actually referring to one plant when I should actually be focusing on the actual name itself, and that is nasturtiums. And don't mind me peeing right over at my backyard garden because I'm just straight for fertilizing them. Oh man, and I'm also too lazy to find a toilet, man. God damn it. Anyways, yes, obviously we've got lots and lots of nasturtiums. There's heaps and heaps of nasturtiums. And if you remember in my previous video where I talked about how to harvest nasturtiums, if I corner through my backyard garden, there should be more seeds right here somewhere. But somehow, I just can't find them at the moment. Strange enough, the more I look, the more nooks and crannies I'm about to encounter. Like there's some more. These are actually blossoms. But anyways, apart from the nasturtiums that you can harvest, we've also got this sunflower seedling, which I just talked about. And there's also tomato seedlings. This zinnia seedling is actually having very much a lot of trouble right here. There is another one right there. There's actually a couple more zinnia sections there. Basically, as the zinnia grows, they actually grow into more, well, let's just say, more things involved. I might talk about later on. We've got more zinnias right here. And then we've also got a couple of tomatoes right here. I think that's tomato. And that one there is potato. I might have to wait up until autumn time. In fact, autumn has arrived very, very early. You know, even if autumn has arrived early in August, maybe I should call a heat wave in August an Indian summer. Well, maybe that may not be that right because we're not in autumn at the moment here, eh? I just seem to think people are wearing jumpers, coats, cardigans, fleeces, blazers, whatever we're going to call them, those long sleeve clothes. Maybe it's time for me to just shout out, "Oh, that's just great, I released all that hot air that's traveled nowhere to go." And that's it. Pardon me for that one, eh? But we've actually got some good news on the horizon here. We've actually got more healthy cosmoses. You can, of course, deadhead the flowers, but I'm actually going to leave the flowers. One of the very core, key, fundamental things about cosmoses is that after they flower, you know these little black things there? And the wind is hustling outside, which is not a very good feeling. But summer will be back next couple of weeks' time. It will be back next week. Hopefully we can get temperatures nearly up into the 30s. If we're lucky so far, or unlucky, of course. We've got more cosmoses. Yes, we've got clusters of cosmoses, like big clusters of cosmoses, which is quite nice. Which is actually very impressive so far. I've got lots of flower heads for cosmoses. But what's even more interesting is that apart from the non-flowering cosmos, which has totally failed and has totally grown in massive size, we've got huge amounts of nasturtiums. Then we've also got some zinnias. And speaking of zinnias, one of the zinnias has actually managed to grow oh so well. This cosmos here, it has failed flowering. I don't know what's happened to this one here. Probably it hasn't been fertilized yet. The chances of it flowering and or not flowering is quite highly erratic. I have no idea what I'm on about, but I feel like, hey, for late seasonal plants like this one here, I'm pretty sure they're less likely going to flower. But if I would have planted zinnias during, let's just say, April, actually, cosmos is around April or May. Not sure about that. I'm pretty sure May, you're not going to get that many flowers. But I'm pretty sure if you plant cosmoses during April, you might be more lucky to get flowers like these. Up until when they start to droop like that, and then it's game over. Apart from the fact that I'm seeing lots and lots of nasturtiums, we've actually got... Look at this! We've actually got zinnias! Now that is amazing. We've finally got the zinnias to actually flower. Like this one right here. This one has finally decided to flower, and it's very good news. And as you can see, we've got a hoverfly trying to land on the zinnia flower. It's a whitish looking flower. It's got like pink, but it's also got these weird yellow mini flowers. I don't know what these little tiny little flower starfish like things are for. Is that for like extra pollen? Correct me if I'm wrong. I always am, because I'm obviously going to straightforward lose all my flowers once winter arrives. Oh, please don't mention that cold season. We've got more white flowers over there, tucked in the back. And as interesting as this sounds, yes, more nasturtium flowers. There's a field mustard on the background there. Okay, it's very amazing. As you can see, we've got all sorts and all kinds of flowers, like these yellow ones right there. They're also doing very, very well. The blue ones are also doing nicely. And then we've also got more yellow flowers with white in it. I don't know what these are. Some onions as well, of course. We've got lots and lots of very good looking onions. I should have just harvested the onions before, dinner time, I suppose, hey? Oh well. We've also got some wild cabbage, and none of the flowers have has been, how would you say it, exposed. I can't see any, like, bloomages or flower buds. I can't really see them at all. And, yeah, that's probably, somewhat a bit of a shame so far for the wild cabbage, just because I've trimmed it the last time I saw them. Some parsley, they're doing alright. Not that much I could potentially say, apart from the fact that the weather has gone, well, a little bit cold-hearted. Sorry for the pun, but I feel like winter is coming on our hands. But we have to get through autumn first. And actually, yes. Is it just me, or is it just the fact that we are in a very unseasonable way on how the seasons change? It's all because of climate change, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're watching this video. And strange enough, I'm actually starting to see some early signs of autumnal colour. How do you say it? I've no idea, but I'm pretty sure there's a syndrome going on here of various leaves, and it looks like, by looking at the sycamore trees, most and if not all of the leaves are still in their very pristine conditions of green, although I'm starting to see various decays and various different colours, and I can actually see these little red nubs on that sycamore leaf on the background. Now, I'm not sure what that is. Sorry, I shouldn't film people's neighbourhoods, but hey. Oh, look! There's a shopping trolley. How weird is that? Oh, man. I feel like I'm a little bit embarrassed for exposing other people's neighbourhood. Maybe the kids have just been playing Fortnite right over in that neighbourhood here. Okay, let me just go underneath. This very dangerous blackberry arch. Thorny arch, as I like to call it. And boy, I'm off the straightforward talk on the toilet, because I've got some very nasty poop coming from the backside, and there's all my debris from my nasty dark side knockoff smashings. That was strange, and I don't know why I'm recording videos as I'm just, oh man, taking a dump without saying the S word. If I want to say it, my videos would be demonetized. Man, I mean, what's up with me just straight for vlogging in this part of the video? And obviously I don't really seem to film that much in the bathroom that much, because hey, it's straightforward, more of a shower / toilet thing, and also you don't put it right over in bathrooms unless if there's like a big spider, maybe a big moth. And actually early on, before making this video, I think 2 to 3 hours earlier on, I think I might have seen a moth. Strange enough, I made a video about it, and apparently it might have been a specific species of moth that I can't really remember. I don't think it's peppered moth, but I might be totally wrong. Let's just go ahead and keep filming on the backyard garden for more statistics and more results. Well, don't mind me on the fact that you're looking at a cutaway shot of a windowsill just because I'm about to take a bit of a dump, placing tissue on my bum. This is not the sort of gardening video that you really want in life. Why the hell am I doing this absolute weird cutaway? Right, I'm just going to try to flush the toilet. Oh man, because it stinks. Don't tell me to do skivvy toilet, right? If you tell me to do skivvy toilet, well then I'm fired. Obviously I'm gone. Obviously you can't see me because I'm obviously washing my hands. Of course, because obviously the main thing about water and tablets is that they're not fairly compatible. Very much so. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I might as well just do a jump cut because I need my hands to dry off. And after drying it off, let's pop back to the garden. Oh yeah. And strange enough, this is like take 2, but hey, seems like we're doing a-okay. At the moment here, we've got lots of nasturtiums. Apparently the other autumnal sign I'm also starting to see, there's more dried up leaves right over in the shrubs. And the peculiar thing of when autumn actually arrives, it's not just meteorologically, and look at this. We have actually got a very infected leaf, so I'm going to actually straightforward crumble apart. I think that's what they seem to be like when autumn falls by. Sorry for the pun. I might not need to straightforward pull that out because it might probably destroy and end the plant's life. And boy, did I just belch. Oh, there's another cosmos plant. Oh, there's actually two more tucked in the back. Now, how the hell are they actually going to survive when you've got other plants like the nasturtiums taking cover? They might get some liberal amounts of sunshine. I'm hoping for that, hey? To straightforward live. But, I don't know. It's just one of these things. Correct me if I'm wrong, hey? But, yeah. Very much so. And I'm turning the brightness down because I've got saliva on my tablet, which is not a very good sign. Yeah, amazingly, the flowers do sort of droop once they have their first initial blossoming, if that's the right term or not. That there's actually a small one. I did think it was going to be a bit of a giant zinnia, but no, we're actually ending up with actually quite a small zinnia, which is actually quite strange. But nevertheless, it has reached towards its maximum peak, but I keep it a secret, hey? This has to be one of the most amazing sightings I've ever done so far throughout this time of the year, and that is late summer. And actually, as we're crawling up towards autumn, I can actually start to see massive swaths of blackberries. And as you can see, there's blackberries right over in the backyard garden. If you look on the top here, right over where the shed is, yes, I did say the word shed. And if I go up towards here, you can actually start to see that there's blackberries right there. Sometimes the landlords in my council could potentially trim those, but I'm not sure about that. Maybe do it around early autumn. That's my only guess. Early to mid-autumn will be very favourable. And actually, we're starting to see some more signs that autumn is arriving. Look at all those crumbling leaves. And actually, when I was outside walking, I saw a lot of acorns sort of coming out, and also some very ripe looking apples. So that basically tells me that early autumn is basically arriving earlier than usual. As funny as this sounds. This actually does sort of bring me back to when, you know, the UK was suffering from an extremely hot heat wave back in 2022, and that caused extreme drought, extreme amounts of fires. And in fact, 2025 is basically a small midget carbon copy of what we've seen back in 2022. And if you remember 2022, the grass was so parched, but now it seems like we're heading in a much better direction than 2022 because our grass is now becoming a lot more moist, lush, green and fertile, and that actually is quite a very good contrast than what we've seen in 2022. Even though we had a lot of nice weather back in 2022, it did set up a massive spark of controversies and a lot of consequences, very dire ones to possibly say the least. I would have never ever think that, and I've just straightforward nearly squashed over to a plant pot. And yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? You know, whenever you talk about weather and then you start to talk about seasons, it is crazy. And actually, there are so many autumn leaves right over where I am at the moment. And I might as well just show my face because the camera is just being weird. It does not want to, it's just being disobedient. Anyways, let me just go ahead and show you the leaves. Okay, you can see vast amounts of autumnal leaves. They've actually straightforward spread from this end all the way towards here. Somehow this is a very strange phenomenon, but this is very much a sign that climate change and or global warming could potentially be like. I'm sort of thinking about that because, hey, maybe it is climate change and global warming speeding up this process. And I mean, there's a lot of like different weather events, like there's that big tropical storm that's, you know, influencing our weather at the moment that might spark some heat waves next week. But yeah, we're very much into late summer, early autumn. Who knows, you might be able to find a conker in your doorstep. That being the horse chestnuts. And look how crumbly those leaves are. You can start to see they have just straightforward gone a bit brownish. You can start to see there's a complete change of colour. And as you can see, yes, they are literally going from like a very fresh looking green like this to a much limey, yellowy sort of green colour. And look at that. Once they start to turn brown, they just start to crumble apart really, really fast. And boy, that's a sign that is very, very common for many plants to come in the future. And I'm sure about that from like the next 2 months. Or maybe more than 2 months, because hey, that's how weather events are going to be like these days. Clearly, that's very much seasonal. But hey, let's not think of seasonality. And I do know that if you remember back in 2022, there was a lot of this going on here. And actually, due to the extremely hot and dry conditions, we've actually seen a false autumn, as what people might have dubbed it before. And I think we might actually have that phenomenon much more earlier than usual. In fact, I think I've probably seen so many false autumn events, and it is quite confusing, because even you might think it's very much a hot summer's day, there you look on the ground, it's just acorns, autumn leaves, or whatever. There's just a lot of it going around here, you know. Apples being ripe, that's probably my thing, you know. When autumn arrives early, you start to see leaves like that. Well, it's crazy. Anyways, I shall probably end this video here. If you've really enjoyed this very strange gardening video on YouTube, I thought I wasn't going to be doing it because there were other things taking over and stuff, like the fact people were wearing long sleeve clothes and then they were just wearing one more layer on top of another. I mean, I shouldn't think about it, because hey, let them be, even though it's that time of the year again, when it's actually not. So, anyways, if you really enjoyed this very strange video on YouTube, please give this video a very good like, subscribe for more flat videos in the future, and as always, thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.